off me with directed energy weapons. They've been doing it all day, all night long, all weekend long, all week long. There's all month long, all year long, year before that long. They've been aiming sonic energy weapons at my head, my back, my chest. And if I move anywhere, there it's following my movements in the room because they have both neighbors that are connected to each other through the hospital network and through the OBGYN, which I was trying to explain yesterday, but the tape cut off. Ralphia Warnock and Leah Patrice Jones Menace, Dr. Jamil Angelo Menace, they belong to Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Sherry Boston is an AKA. So they all belong to the same network. Senator Dr. Jamil Angelo Menace, he's an OBGYN. So he's from Morehouse. He works at Morehouse. He has a practice in the Bahamas where he's from. He's the Bahamas Prime Minister. They relocated him over here while his father was the Bahamas Prime Minister. So they relocated him and his fake wife, Leah Patrice Jones Menace, next door. And then on the other side, they have Catherine Grace Pathello. Catherine, according to Lawrence Katzman, has been grandfathered in to have at least 11 people rotating in and out of her property that are coordinating with the FBI Threat Liaison Center to gang stalking. So these two properties are assisting each other, coordinating with law enforcement, my movement in my home, when I wake up, when I sleep, when I eat, when I go to the bathroom, when I shower, whatever I do. Catherine's, she's a midwife. So in the hospital, they have, of course, midwives, but also in the Bible, there's reference to the midwife. And the reason why I'm saying Bible is because they keep using my faith and different things to target and harass me. Okay, so Catherine, she has 11 people in there. Her father comes in town. She had a black family or black couple. The little girl came over, gang stopped and pointing and laughing at the lights that I put up, the cameras that I put up in front. And then they had the Turnberry Gate Townhome Association coordinated with the HOA and Chambly Police, who they have a type of community policing relationship with. They coordinated with them to vandalize my cameras and shut the power off in my home. And when the cops came, they came laughing, joking, hung up on me, had FBI hang up on me, refused to write a police report. And then the officer, because I called him brave, he took off left and then stood on the side smoking a vape pen. And then refused to give me a police report or a police report number. And then I had to call 911 back several times. They finally came back, and then they gave me a service report number. So later, I looked on the service report number, and all the service reports that they keep coming to my address when they swap me is they're listing me as mentally disturbed. Okay. The only reason they're doing that is because DeKalb County law enforcement is defendant's client, Safra Shaw, who I reported for fraud, obstruction, and all this gang stalking they have going on. Now, Heather Teresa Carson Perkins, equity partner over at Fragrant Drinker, well, Heather, she joined the case while Safra was still litigating a similar case in Ohio. But they told the court that they left. They took a leave and said they're no longer on the case. But they were still litigating the same exact case in Ohio for months, close to a year. Okay? And then they finally, I don't know what happened to that case. But long story short, Heather Teresa Carson Perkins was aware of that because the whole time she's been coordinating with them and law enforcement to harass me. Now, when she responds to me, she changes the font specifically to Georgia, just to be an ass. She's the ABA chair and the on the governance board of legal aid. So if you got any cases with those groups, if Heather Teresa Carson Perkins is looking at them, just know you're not getting any type of help. Or if they are, Heather Teresa Carson Perkins is stopping any resolution in your case so you can be harassed and gang stalked because something's mentally wrong with her. Now, she lied to the court and told the court that I posted her address. But tax records in Colorado says that she has two primary addresses for years. For years. So Colorado Tax Authority could have been doing that instead of harassing me. but that's not what they wanted to do. So they've been coordinating with the United States government. Everybody's been gang stalking me. It's been going on for years. Every time I report it to someone, they double down on the harassment. Senator Warnock, Senator John Ossoff have been aware. They're too busy walking around in their tailored suits, but they've been aware. Now they're co-signing on this nonsense by, because they want it Cop City here. So whoever these donors or investors for Cop City donated to their senator fund, so they become senators that sit in the Senate pretending like they're doing something for the American people when they're participating in me being gang stalked, because I sent an email to Senator Raphael Warnock, who's also a pastor at Ebenezer Church, where he probably shouldn't be. But I sent an email to him, and he used that email and got on TV, jumped on TV, and started using code words from my email to gang stop me because they think that's funny. Now, in the meantime, I'm being assaulted with directed energy weapons, sonic energy weapons all day and night long while I'm trying to communicate with the court because Heather Teresa Carson Perkins, ADF chair, she lied to the court, lied to my former attorneys who were all in on this nonsense with them, and said, she was in a fear for her life. How are you in fear for your life? I'm the one being gang stalked. I'm the one being harassed because you guys made up some perceived last name that you decided to give me, and now you're harassing me because of that. So this is an employment case. There's no reason why national security should be involved in an employment matter, but this is what they're doing. So across the way from me, they moved in Bay Lawrence and Lorette Woods as soon as I complained to the Atlanta EEOC that my prior employer was engaging in fraud by assisting Sephora Shaw, who was also defendant's counsel on the Jackson case, and also DeKalb County law enforcement. So what they decided to do was they relocated across from me, Lorette Woods, Bay Lawrence, and Vanessa Elena Brown from Wells Fargo. Now, I used to cover this whole area for the company I work for as regional vice president. So I sold annuities. So that was my office. So they moved her behind from Virginia from SunTrust down to that office to Wells Fargo, got her sitting across the way from me, flickering the blinds, flickering the lights, coming outside, doing psychological nonsense, got her her relatives, Tim, harassing me, has another lady that she has coming over there harassing me. They have constant house cleaners that are involved. They got them gang stalking me. Lorette Woods, she got her whole family gang stalking me. She got her son that works for the Georgia Correctional Facility. He was over here gang stalking me, shooting pellets at my home nonstop with Bay Lawrence. Now, Bay Lawrence, they added him to the HOA board. So he has regular contact with Chamblee Police. Now, Chamblee Police, the guy that's Chamblee Police, he put on his resume that the former Chamblee Police guy, he was standing in my front yard full uniform telling them what trees to move, Kerry Thomas. So they moved Kerry Thomas to Savannah, Georgia, where Raphael Warnock is from, because they're going by a checklist. And the checklist says Savannah, it says Chicago, it says Maryland. So all these little cities or places, Houston, are places that they're using to relocate people from, or their last name, or if they're somehow connected to gang stalk me for no reason at all. None whatsoever. So they swatted me the other day because they've been banging on the walls nonstop, banging on the building foundation beams, what they're still doing. So I went to go knock on their door because I was trying to read my Bible and praise worship. They hate that because they're the opposite of Christians. Just trust them. They're also the opposite of justice as well. Right now, as I'm talking to you, Bay Lawrence is aiming directed energy weapons at my chest, which is causing shortness of breath, and they're aiming sonic energy weapons at my ears, my head, that's causing my ears to pop. Now, I was upstairs working on a motion for the last 2 days, and they were doing the same thing all day, all night long. I keep emailing the court. I keep emailing the governor of Colorado, because the governor of Georgia, he's too busy participating in the nonsense, so he's not going to help, because this was all premeditated when they had Sonny Perdue in here. So Kemp took over for Sonny Perdue. He had his wife gang stalking me with GBI, a guy named Michael, because they like to take names from the Bible. So this is what they keep doing. They refuse to leave me alone. The court's been aware of this for years. Chief Judge Brimmer's been aware of this for years. Everybody's been aware of this. And they refuse to stop harassing me. So I'm recording this So you guys know what is going on because I keep telling the court, I keep telling defendant's counsel, Heather's a cuckoo bird. She's not going to do anything because she don't lie up and down the court docket. So she's too busy trying to protect her lies. But the truth is chasing Heather Teresa Carson Perkins up and down the court docket. So now she doesn't want to respond to any of the motions that I have filed because she knows that she's been lying. So you can't counter lie after lie when I've been on this case from the beginning and I got all kind of facts. So now she's running scared and afraid to respond and saying, "Oh, well, I don't want to respond until March 25th." The only reason March 25th was selected was because I kept sending motions to the court because the court wouldn't do anything. They're allowing me to be harassed and terrorized. I asked them to expedite it. They ignored it. I sent a temporary restraining order. They ignored it. So this can go on. Obstruction of justice. This is what's going on. Everybody's aware of this in several states. It's happening in several states. It's interstate criminal obstruction of justice. They just turned up the directed energy weapons that they're aiming at my chest and my head. Bay Lawrence is from New Jersey, where my previous employer, their headquarters was. He's from the military. So he's from the military. These people next door is from the hospital network. Pretty much all the neighbors, they're either from the hospital network, they're attorneys. So they got a bunch of attorneys participating in this nonsense. They got attorneys changing their homes to trust. So they're using trust to facilitate these crimes. Duro and Duro, the criminals over at Duro and Duro, Kathy Duro is Albany mayor's sister. So she's been participating in this crime because if you're a relative or law enforcement like Patrick White, they moved to Cobb County. Patrick White, his daughter, 2 doors down, she's been gang stalking me with her newborn and her dog Target. She's been used up because she's, I guess, got a, White wasn't her original last name. Or, she had a couple of last names, is what I'm trying to say. So she don't spit out a newborn just to gang stalk me. They keep using kids to gang stalk me. Moving all kind of kids, having them run out in front of the street with their bicycle in the air with the father watching on the side, and then the father comes stare at me, mean mug me. I had my window open the other day. He's gonna keep walking by the window, looking up at the window. Like, what are you looking up at the window for? What are you gonna do? I don't know who the cops think you are, or making you think you are, but you don't, whatever you're doing, all you're doing is aiding and abetting obstructing justice. So somehow the Georgia GBI sent me an email and said all this nonsense they're doing is not illegal, including deliberately devaluing the properties over here. So my property over here, they're charging me a lot more in property taxes than the neighbors. The attorney over here, his lot is bigger than mine. They're charging me more. No, actually, they're the same lot. The guy at the end, that his lot is bigger. But all these homes over here, they're charging me a lot more than the neighbors. Then Bay Lawrence on the HOA board and the other person on the HOA board, they had them shooting pellets nonstop at my home. They got their property taxes a lot lower than mine. Now, this is before you put in all the exclusions. So, you're looking at a blank rough draft. The land is the land. Everybody should be charged the same, right? Well, not up over here. Over here, they're too busy finagling stuff. And then over here on the other side, they are rotating in the owners of the properties every 2 years. So every 2 years, they got the group gang stalking me. There's 88 homes over here. Okay? So 87 of the homes are involved in the FBI Threat Center program. They got the realtors involved. They're too busy updating their websites with lies, facilitating devaluing my property so they can run this BS. My house value hasn't changed for years, but the insurance company, they've been charging me over $100,000 more than what the value of the property that the DeKalb County Tax Authority is saying it is. The numbers are the same. Aren't y'all getting the same numbers for the assessment to do whatever calculations you are doing? How come the numbers aren't the same? But this is what's going on. So this is what I'm dealing with because I filed an employment lawsuit against Jackson National Life Insurance. They settled with 21 people, but technically 23 people already. And they didn't settle with me because the numbers that they submitted to the courts were fraudulent. So the judge dismissed all of my stuff. It had to go to appeals court. Appeals court ruled in my favor It's been back on the docket since 2022. They haven't done a damn thing to it. So Heather Teresa Carson Perkins can lie. Now, I had an attorney. He was too busy gang stalking me with everybody else from out of the country. Not even going to get into that because it's irrelevant at this point. Long story short, all this nonsense has been going on. They refuse to leave me alone. Everybody's aware of it. Senators, congressmen, the president. I email President Biden. I email the VP. I email all of them. They all know. Everybody been new for 8 years, longer than that. And they're still at this nonsense, still at it, and refuse to leave me alone. Law enforcement refuses to do any part of their job, as long as it's showing up to my house for them swatting me, harassing me. That's the only time they're all souped up on whatever they're souped up on, whatever injustice drinks they drink before they get here, whatever's in those vape pens they are vaping before they get here. That's what they're hyped about, and they come with management, their sergeants, all that stuff. When the judge ruled in their favor in 2021, which was overturned by the Supreme Court and ruled in my favor, they sent the DeKalb County Fire Department in the back of my home with their sirens, their horns, and their lights to harass me. Now, I told the court this. I told my former attorney. Everybody has known about this. The court has removed my attorney twice. So now I figured out how to file motions. I had to order all these law books and stuff. Filed the first one. The judge was like, this is rambling. We don't understand what you're talking about. No, your motion's denied. Aren't you supposed to look at the content and evaluate it based upon that? But you're sitting here trying to evaluate somebody like an ABA person, like your buddy Heather Teresa Carson Perkins, because they were best friends. He was on the revenue end of the ABA. Now, the person that put him on there from Kansas knew this already. He knew this when he accepted the case. And then he emailed me on Saturday, because I emailed the court to tell them to stop gang stalking me. He gonna email me on Saturday and tell me to stop emailing him. He's no relation to the new O'Hara. To stop emailing him thanks. Email the other O'Hara. First of all, why are you responding on a Saturday? You've never responded that fast to anything that I had to say to you, ever. Well, even while you were on the case. Secondly, why are you gang stalking me and sending me an email in response to the time that I sent the motion to compel to the court at 9:07 a.m.? So you're going to send me the email to tell me to not email you also at 9:07 a.m. And then you're going to say, oh, no relation to O'Hara, because I put that in my complaint that they keep making, using similarities in names to target and harass me. So he thought it was cute to respond to me to say that. I thought you weren't on the case anymore, so why are you still reading my complaint to even know that information or having access to my emails that I reported to law enforcement about that connection, that you decided to specifically respond to that and send it to me in an email on a Saturday, yesterday. And then after I responded to him, nonstop gang stalking, assault with directed energy weapons, sonic energy weapons, nonstop. Being harassed by the neighbors, banging on the building foundation beams, nonstop. And they haven't stopped. They haven't. Now, had he not been a conflict of interest and the prior magistrate been a conflict of interest, because there's been 5 on this case so far. 5. Because, of course, they're using a book, and the book says magistrate. And so like, okay, let's be funny and put a whole bunch of magistrates on our case. Give it a try. We can see how many times it's going to take to harass her, because we perceive her last name means harass, so we're going to do that. So everybody's aware of this. Everybody. And they're allowing this injustice to go on, which is illegal, but they don't care. They don't care. So I would like to know if anyone can, explain to me, besides the idiots I had to turn off my comments, because they have law enforcement going onto my page making stupid comments. So I had to block them. They had Jamie Gilmore, who's an attorney that lived over here. They had her husband going on my page making comments. They had him shooting pellets at my home. And then I look out the window and his stupid behind is on the patio playing the banjo as loud as he could play. And then she walks outside. So I uploaded it to the internet. And now they're mad at me for reporting them being involved in obstructing justice. That's what you was doing the whole time you was there. You was showing your behind, so I posted you showing your behind. I don't understand why you mad at me. I don't know what you thought I was going to do with the information. They're still at it nonstop. So I'm explaining this to you guys, who's ever listening, because I know it's definitely law enforcement, FBI. FBI had surveillance cameras and CCTVs illegally installed all over my home. They hooked it up with Steve LaJoy, the prior owner, Derek Diedrich Ward, who was also Georgia Corrections officer. They don't moved him over to Biggs County, Macon, Georgia, and then they moved him from Macon County, Georgia, over to North Carolina, Rayford, North Carolina. Now he's part of the Department of Defense. I'm not going to talk about some other stuff he's involved in because that's relevant at this point. So he's over in Rayford, North Carolina. Now Fayetteville area. That's the area where the officers came in the apartment building and shot the Army service member. Okay, just entered his home and shot him. Okay, so I know the police lie. I know they are pathological liars. They've been lying up and down the court. They haven't submitted anything to the court, but Heather's been lying on their behalf. So, and I've witnessed with my own eyes their conduct because they're doing it to me. So I know anything they're just submitting to the court or whatever they're lying about to the court. I know it's a lie. I know it's a lie. I know when they murdered Tyree Nichols in Tennessee, Mississippi, wherever they did that, Memphis. I know they lied about that. Them boys was told to do that because his name's in the Bible. So I don't know what's up with law enforcement where they're going around terrorizing people because of the United States Justice Department is giving them free reign to do it. Free reign to do it. To go around targeting, terrorizing, murdering people, and then lying about it. Now, on my case, in the EEOC, Elijah McClain. They murdered Elijah McClain. Then the paramedic dude got off. Okay, it's no coincidence he got off because the Aurora mayor, he was up in the Congress, helping them manipulate my salary numbers with his intern. His intern was added to the damage expert, coordinating with defendant's counsel over at Sephora Shaw to offer me his wife's birthday reverse as a damage amount. So Rep. Jason Crow replaced him. They moved his behind over to Aurora, Colorado. Okay. Now he'd been in Aurora, Colorado harassing me because I lived in Aurora, Colorado, and he was harassing me. Okay. So when I relocated from there, I came here, they were harassing me. Now the attorney that his family finally settled with, that was the attorney on my case from the EEOC. So I know the EEOC engaged in criminal conduct. So ain't no telling what she suppressed to help law enforcement in Aurora because they're all working together. So their GBIs over here gang stalking and harassing me while they killed Kendrick Johnson. They murdered him. Murdered Manuel over here from Cop City. Murdered him. Said it was friendly fire. It wasn't. They shot him. We all know he was executed with his hands up in the ground. Whatever they lie about, whatever they're manipulating at GBI, because GBI is involved with gang stalking me with directed energy weapons and sonic energy weapons. And they said what happened to me is not a crime. They sent me an email. So I know whatever they're telling the parents and the family of these cases, they're lying about it. I know that. I know it's a fact. So I'm telling all of you guys this so you know what's going on. That's all. I'm going to cut this to tape and I'm going to upload it. That should be about a little thorough explanation of what's been going on. They're still aiming directed energy weapons at my chest and my head. It's coming from the neighbor apartment from Catherine Grace Costello. Like I said, she has about 11 people that she rotates in and out of there. Her father, she had some guys in there. One might stay in the weekend. She'll have a couple come in there. They'll stay the weekend. And then if I walk outside, they come outside immediately gang stalking me. They got the Cudas across the way. They live in Miami. So they gang stalking me from Miami. They got renters over here harassing me. Every time they move a renter in, the renters immediately starts harassing me. Now the renters are paying them with money that they're receiving from the Department of Justice, the gang stalking, the Pentagon, COINTELPRO dollars, whatever budget fund they're moving, taking this money from to pay these people to harass me and coordinating with Jackson National. So Jackson National is getting a free benefit from the United States government to terrorize former minority employees for no reason at all. No, they know what they did was wrong. They know it, but they too busy lying about data, and they mad at me because I figured it out. It don't take a rocket scientist to look at the numbers and look at the spreadsheet and see that y'all got triple digits all over the spreadsheet. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. But I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute, something not right here. And then when I looked at the number of the damage amount she offered me, I knew I seen that number somewhere before because, you know, they keep calling me detective. So, because I like to, you know, I research stuff. So they called me detective. So I knew I seen the number they offered me before. Lo and behold, it was Gerald Leonard Mattman's wife's birthday reversed. Lisa Elena Mattman, and she's a former attorney. Now she's over there at Chicago, School of Chicago, some over Chicago Law School, or she's doing something over there. She shouldn't be over there, but that's where she's at. Now I know they moved Vanessa over here to harass me because her middle name is Elena. So remember, I like to tell you they like to, you know, they like to match things, like playing like memory, like a game, because something's wrong with these people. This is what they do up in DOJ. That's why they can't solve any cases, any civil rights cases, because this is what they too busy doing. Kristen Clark has known about this. She's been involved. She's known about this from the beginning. Her and Merrick Garland, they up in there having a good time with the new guy from NCIS Africa. They don't put him on the case because he put on his resume brave, and I told you guys about asked the officer was he brave, and apparently he wasn't. So this is what I have to deal with, this nonsense for no reason at all. I'm not doing anything. I'm in my home reading my Bible. Why are they so bothered by me? Why is you so bothered by me reading the Bible and praising, worshiping, praise? If you didn't have cameras in my home, you wouldn't be bothered by anything. Because you got cameras all over my place, illegally installed, might I add. They have the neighbors have access to the electrical outlets, and they have access to the HVAC system. So they've been sending microscopic pass through my vent. Now, across the way, Kuda Lama, her behind, she's a chiomedic symmetrist or something. She works in a biolab, okay? So that's not my area profession. I didn't even know what that was until I looked it up. And so she works in a biolab. So her behind, along with this other person over here, Leslie Battle, she's a chemist. Elizabeth Whitaker Leah over here that they had in 2450 Gateberry with Brian Caldwell from Michigan. She's a chemist. Okay? Now she's over at Pandora, sitting here monitoring what music you listen to so she can send that information to the United States government because they want to see where you're at psychologically. Are you listening to praise music? Are you listening to rap? Are you listening to anger music? Like, where are you at based upon the touch points of them gang stalking you? This is what they're doing. So I know this. I've been telling Congress. Congress has ignored it. They don't give a shit. They were too busy playing, the weaponization of government. And the only reason they got that is for me because I recorded it telling the Cobb County Fire Department to stop weaponizing the department. What Brian Kemp did to me using the fire department, drive back and forth by my home, and then had the law enforcement making pit maneuvers in front of my home. Laying on the horn, me wait. I'm like, what the hell? I wake up, they outside doing pit maneuvers. I'm like, what the hell is going on in Georgia? But this is what they're doing. So if you haven't heard about any cases, they too busy suppressing them. If you hadn't heard about anything civil rights, they're too busy suppressing them. I would go in about Georgia.